Greetings everybody and welcome to Madrid Ball. I hope you're all safe and sound. Real Madrid have a test of character as they host Real Sociedad at the Santiago Bernabeu. We all know the second leg against PSG is within touching distance. We are all building up to one of the most important matches of the season. It would be a fascinating encounter. I'm pretty sure the players are already thinking about that game. But before the mega night arrives, we have a tough challenge to deal with in La Liga. Real Sociedad are a team who are equally capable of pulling off an upset, and with the absentees that Ancelotti would be having, the game may turn out to be a tricky one for the Los Blancos. So in this video we would be doing the match preview of Real Madrid versus Real Sociedad. We'll go through the words of Carlo Ancelotti, and last but not the least, we'll end this video by doing the match predictions. So come on, let's get started. And starting by talking about the opposition that we face today, Real Sociedad are a team who are currently holding the 6th position in La Liga. They have 44 points from 26 games, and if we have a look at the form in recent games, in the past 5 matches, they have 3 wins, 1 draw, and a single loss. But talking about Sociedad, we know they are a team that are battling for the more profound European spots. It's more likely that they will end up in a Europa League position, but it would be blatant on my part to say that Champions League spot is out of reach for them. They're just 1 point away from a UCL spot, and generally you'd expect the teams like Atletico and Barcelona to up their game in the remainder of the matches and end up in the top 4. But having said that, uncertainty is one thing that has been a common phenomena in La Liga teams this season. We never know who would go on a poor run of form from here and would be tumbled off the top 4. For the moment, Betis, as you can see, are currently holding the 3rd position and having a spectacular season by their standards. But let's see if they can finish the monumental task of winning a Champions League spot at the end of the campaign. But coming to how Sociedad have played in recent times, they have been hot and cool in the past few months. They were recently eliminated from the Copa del Rey and had to suffer elimination from the Europa League at the hands of RB Leipzig, and you combine that with the league performance in the new year, you can clearly see Sociedad have been on a slippery slope. To an extent, it has taken the wind off their sails. However, I also have to mention that during the tough run of games, Imanol was missing Mikel Merino, who obviously is an instrumental part of the side. He first had a hamstring injury and then had suffered a concussion, which had kept him on the sidelines for quite some time. Imanol struggled to replace him as there was no like-for-like replacement for Mikel Merino, and his absence turned out to be a major handicap for the team. But keeping the past aside and speaking about the present, Merino has made his return in style. In the past game against Mallorca, he happened to be on the score sheet as well, and his link-up play with David Silva is something that we'll need to deal with on the pitch. We know both of them are talented midfielders. Silva clearly still has the ability to make some defense-cutting passes and has no trouble in picking out players running in behind. So yes, Madrid have a worthy opposition who would be having the desire to keep hold of possession. They also happen to hold a high line, but of course we can't expect them to change a few things tactically, because at the end of the day, they are playing the league leaders away from home. And about the formation that we can expect from Imanol, it is likely that he'll set up in the 4-2-3-1 formation. In the midfield, we'll most likely see the double pivot of Mikel Merino and Andre Guevara. We can expect David Silva to play in the attacking midfield role. He would be linking up the midfield and the attack, and on either side we can see Oyarzabal and Porto, who would be tasked with providing width on the flanks. And lastly, in the centre forward role, Sorloth was used in the previous game, but it is likely that Alexander Isak will return to the side and will provide the cutting edge in attack. And coming to Real Madrid, this, as you see, is the squad list for the game. We have the timely return of David Alaba in the side, but we would be missing Toni, Kroos and Fede Valverde for the game. These are some major absentees that Ancelotti has to deal with, and unfortunately it also comes at the worst time possible. The initial reports are suggesting that Kroos has picked up a hamstring injury which makes him down for the PSG game. However, there are some suggestions that he most probably would be ready for the UCL clash. And as for Valverde, he's down with the flu, he has fever, but even here Real Madrid are optimistic that Valverde would be available in the upcoming week. Moving on, let's hear what Ancelotti had to say in the pre-match press conference. The coach spoke about his rotation policy and about tactics, but firstly, while previewing the match, Ancelotti said, "The team is looking good, we've trained well and enjoyed this week to improve our physical condition. I see commitment and excitement around the place, and we're ready for the final stretch of the season. We want to show that against Real Sociedad, who are having a good season and play some good football. I'm feeling confident because the team looks in good shape." Then Ancelotti was questioned if he was partially responsible for the injury that Kroos has picked up. We know he has had a lot of minutes in his legs this season, and on that the coach responded, Kroos was rested in the Alaves game and it's not a question of fatigue. Just sometimes you get a bit of bad luck and we have to live with injuries. It's an important part of the season, and for the moment the team doesn't have too many injuries. Alaba was out for 7 days with a knock and Kroos will be for 5 or 6 days. At this stage of the season, having these kind of issues shows we managed the squad well physically. Then the coach was asked if the system would be changed in the absence of Kroos and Valverde, and Ancelotti denied such a thing. He said, I have all the squad available except for Kroos and Valverde, who will be absent. We're not going to change the system. As we said, we'll press more and nothing else. The system will not change, and then I will choose the best players against PSG. I will try to have the best possible composition. And lastly, Ancelotti was asked about the prospect of seeing Camavinga in the starting 11, and the coach replied, he's fine, he's enthusiastic and motivated. The pivot position is a bit difficult for him. It's a position where the tactical aspect is important. I forced him to play there a bit because I think he can do it, and tomorrow he is an option. So that sums up the pre-match thoughts of Carlo Ancelotti, and let's conclude this video by doing the match predictions. In goal, we would be seeing Thibaut Courtois. In the backline, we would see Alaba return, and he would be lining up with Militao, Carvajal and Ferland Mendy. In the midfield, Ancelotti does have a dilemma, but I expect that Camavinga will start the game. I also think there's the possibility that Ceballos may be given a start. We know he has been offered a few minutes by the coach in recent weeks, but I predict the midfield of Camavinga, Casemiro and Luka Modric will form the engine of the side. And finally in attack, seeing Ancelotti's preferences, it does seem that Vinicius and Benzema will start along with Marco Asensio on the right wing. So that, as you see, is my predicted lineup. And as for the scoreline predictions, I predict Real Madrid 1, Real Sociedad 0. And that is all I have here. Do let me know how you're feeling ahead of the game and what scoreline are you predicting right in the comments below. I'll see you soon. Till then, take care. Glory to Madrid. And as always, Ala Madrid.